Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phineas. I had to look at the time for a second because I'm like, okay. I'm finally recording some episodes, which this is actually my last daily thought for this particular podcast. For those who don't know, I'm redoing this particular podcast. I've been working on it behind the scenes, whether I've been in deep thought or whether I've been physically doing something, which is why you haven't really heard from me, because I've been mostly in deep thought, like, okay, how am I transitioning this? What do I want to do next? Whatever. So yeah, this is the last one for this podcast. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This one will not be long. I'm like stuttering and stuff. What's going on? Okay. So eat all your food when people pay. That's what we got to talk about. So picking up from the last daily thought, for those who don't know, I was talking about the tower had to fall. I mentioned Capricorn in the last daily thought. And I mentioned that I was at the movies with Capricorn. That's what this is about. So we went to the movies, and this is not a dig at Capricorn. I have so much fun being around Capricorn because Capricorn is so chill. Like, no, me and Capricorn have only had issues twice since we've been Netflix and chilling. And first time was based off of like the time where we thought we were on the same page with what time I was supposed to show up or whatever. And I was like, around this time, and he was thinking that time. And I was like, no, around that time. So we were kind of arguing via Snap when I was preparing to come over there. And then by the time I got there, it was like, oh, no, it's my fault. No, it's my fault. Back and forth type of thing. And then we just moved that out. And then the second time was when meeting again, where it was like a last minute change. And I'm like, you couldn't tell me this a day before. You're telling me this last minute. And because the thing was, it was like we were supposed to meet on a Sunday. He was off on Saturday. We had already had a conversation Friday. Okay, we're meeting on Sunday. He hits me up like last minute, I think Saturday or Sunday or whatever is like, hey, I can't meet. I'm just like, okay, I didn't even answer because I'm just like, whatever. So after that, I went without speaking. Then we spoke briefly and I was like, well, you seem busy, so I decided to give you your space, which is basically saying like, okay, let me step back since you can't keep commitments and stuff. So time goes by. And then he had replied back, oh, okay, then I'll just go ahead and leave you alone. Basically saying that he's not going to talk to me anymore. So time goes by and my Snap starts doing these strange things like such and such added you as a friend. I'm like, Capricorn is already on my friend list. Why is this message saying added me as a friend? Okay, is he like hitting the button again to make it like removing himself as a friend, then adding himself as a friend again? So that happened. And then I was like, okay, that's weird, but I'm not answering anything. I'm not going to check anything. So then a few days later, it happened again. Capricorn added you as a friend. But Capricorn is already on my friends list. So then finally, a few days after that, he sends a message. And then we start talking. And then I break down how I felt. And then he breaks down how he felt. And then we came to an understanding. After that, things have been so freaking smooth, so consistent. I really like Capricorn. So we go to the movies to see The Boogeyman. And mind you, I didn't want to see that movie. But he likes horror movies. And when I went to see Fast X, he didn't want to go. I wanted to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. He's like, I don't want to see that right now. He's like, I want to see Boogeyman. Okay, fine. You want to see The Boogeyman? We're going to go see The Boogeyman. Okay, hadn't eaten at all. I was hungry. And I was trying to get something before we went to the movies, because the movie theater, for those who don't know, it's called Studio Movie Grill. They have great food there, but it's more on the expensive side in a way for certain items. But I was just like, okay, fine. Look, I don't want to take the chance of us going to a restaurant and then missing something or whatever, or stuff being delayed. Let's just eat at the movie theater. So as soon as we get there, we start ordering the food. I order the hummus plate, which is like pita bread, cucumbers, and carrots. Where my celery was at, your guess is as good as mine, because I'm pretty sure celery was supposed to be on that plate too, but these are minor details. So I got that, and then I got the chicken tenders, which I don't really do fried food that often, but I love their chicken tenders. So I got the chicken tenders with the sweet potato fries, got that. All right, check. He got strawberry lemonade, a small bag of popcorn, because he loves popcorn, and he got the chicken tenders too, but he didn't get the regular chicken tenders. He had them tossed in buffalo sauce. Okay. So we're eating. Well, let me back up. I need to add some more context. So when the guy brings over his plate, mind you, he likes spicy food. He loves spicy food. When the guy brings over his plate, I can literally smell the spice. Like the tenders were so hot, I was a little worried. I was like, okay, is this going to get classified as a WMD or what? Because I can smell, like, and I'm not talking about like it's right under my nose. I'm talking about like his plate was over to the side. It wasn't like right near me. It was close, but not close where it's like, oh, I should be able to smell all of that from here. No, not that type of close. So I can smell the spice, the heat from these chicken tenders. Okay. So we commenced to eating. And I'm looking, and I'm like, okay. He starts sweating, is what he starts doing. Because they are so hot, and he told me, because I'm like, you okay? He's like, yeah, they're just hot. He's like, I'm sweating. And I'm looking at him like, oh, wow, he really is sweating. So it's like, okay. So there were 4 chicken tenders. And people are going to be like, Casey, you are telling this daily thought. This is kind of petty. No. I'm not throwing him under the bus or anything like that. This is an overall thing. This isn't just him. This is anybody. So finally, as we're wrapping up, the guy decides to come back. I've eaten the majority of my food. The only thing I didn't eat was the remaining pita bread, because I ate like half of it because it was bread. And I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to do all the starch and everything else. So... and he's like, yeah, you can take my plate too. I'm looking at his plate. There's a chicken tender left on his plate, like a whole chicken tender. And I'm like, I know they were hot, but why weren't you like, hey, do you want to eat this? Or hey, do you want to, whatever. Like I said, I'm cool with him. Everything's been consistent since we've been chilling. So it's all good. But it brought me to the story itself, to the title of this daily thought, because I am funny about that. And I feel that people should know, hey, if someone pays for your food, always do your best to eat all of the food. Like, if someone is offering to pay for your food, do your best to eat it all, or make sure you order something that you know you can eat it all. And do that. Because when someone's paying, that money can go towards other things. That meal wasn't a big hit to me. It's whatever. Because I don't look at money like that. Money's not real to me anyway. So, because I remember Andrew Tate was talking about money is just numbers, which that's exactly what it is. It's just numbers. So, yeah, in my manifesting is pretty good. Pretty good. So, I don't dwell in that type of energy. Even when I have bills coming at me, or even if I'm overextended on something, I'm just like, dude, the money is coming. More than likely, the money's already here. And sure enough, like that, it shows up. All good. And I'm thankful to the universe for blessing me with that type of manifestation capability. Thankful for that. So, ain't about the money. It's about the principle. If someone spends their money, I look at things like an even exchange. The exchange, they're spending their money. So they're putting energy into you by buying your meal. You're not giving anything in return, and that's fine. So, meaning that you're not giving any money. That's fine. So, what can you do to make it an even exchange where you don't feel like they owe you? Or you know what I mean? Like having that over your head. one of the best things that you can do is eat all of your food. Eat all of your food. Because that lets the person who paid know, okay, I didn't waste any money. Everything was consumed. I got my money's worth. And again, it's not about the money, it's about the principle. It's like, okay, and also it's a way of appreciation. Where it's like, wow, you paid for my meal. Let me make sure I eat all of this because you thought enough of me to not ask me to pay for my meal. You paid for my meal. And again, this ain't even with him because that's whatever. And indefinitely, I'll continue seeing Capricorn because again, very consistent. We vibe well for right now. You know what I mean? Who knows what could happen in the future, but for right now, we vibe. So yeah. But as for overall, just throwing it out there, if someone ever pays for you, make sure that you eat all your food. And also, throwing it out there too, if you pay for someone's meal, keep an eye on their plate. And what I mean by that is now, if it's one thing where it's after the fact, because that happens sometimes too, where everyone is eating and somebody's like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and pay for dinner. We're not talking about that. We're talking about where someone knowingly goes into the restaurant and they know you're paying for their meal up front before they even order. Okay, that situation, that's the one where if they're eating, you see how much they left on their plate. Just saying. See how much they left on their plate. Because if it's something that you don't mind doing regularly, then that will also give you a sign of where they're at mentally with their stuff too. So just throwing it out there. And also I'm going to keep it 100 too. If Capricorn and I do go out again for something to eat and they don't eat all of their food and I'm the one who pays, yeah, it's going to be a conversation. Just saying. But the point is, if someone pays, eat all of your food. And that is my daily thought.